All right, welcome everyone. My name is Kara Cleveland. I am the Professional Development Office Supervisor for the Indiana State Library. And I am going to be sharing information with you today about information literacy. But before I say that, everyone that is here today, I will get an attendance list from Lisa. And so I will send out your certificates from that list if you're here today. So you don't have to worry about the certificates. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else that I really need to share. So let's hop right in. All right. So I'm going to turn the video off though, so I don't have to see myself. All right. So I want to share the informationliteracy.gov website with you. I learned about this resource from last year. They did a webinar about it. And this is actually through IMLS. So I was actually a little nervous because I had planned this webinar back in January before everything started happening. And so I've been, for the last few weeks, I keep checking to make sure the website's still there. So I'm just going to say, as a word of warning, because it is sponsored by IMLS, there's some things on here that you may want to print out. There's like some lessons. You may want to bookmark some of the sites that they share. And the only reason I say that would be just so you wouldn't lose access to the information if the website does go down. Hopefully not. Okay, so when you think of information literacy, what pops in your mind? Just put it in the chat. Good morning. Should we be seeing a Teams chat? It should be a Zoom chat.
Here, we're seeing your screen, which is a Zoom. So you shared your screen and we're seeing your Teams.
What? My Teams?
So you shared your screen. So like open up a website and see if it pops up. I thought you wanted to be showing that.
No, I wanted to be showing the actual web page. So can
No,
I
we
go
don't
to
see.
it?
Yeah. If you shared your screen, your desktop, did you share your desktop? I'm sorry.
I shared what I thought was the screen. I'm getting out of other things.
Okay.
That'll make a difference.
So close Teams and let's see if we see your desktop.
Okay, I've closed Team. Oh, no, hang on. Yes, I've closed it.
No, we're still seeing it. So stop sharing and then
Okay.
share your desktop.
Okay.
Go ahead and open up whatever web page you want to be using.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
Now share your desktop.
Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Okay. What do you see now?
We see a screen that says information literacy.
Okay, perfect. All right. I always think that I'm all prepared, and then something happens and I realize I wasn't actually prepared. I logged in at 9:30 just to make sure I was okay. So I apologize for a little glitch there. Okay, so let's start again. I'm going to share this website. It has tons of resources. And I know that I probably won't be able to cover everything today, but I do want to show you as much as I can and share as much as I can so you can see the wealth of information that is on this website that you can use for your community. And that is one thing that probably when you think about information literacy is going to vary from place to place. I mean, your community, the needs that they have. And so when you're thinking about information literacy, I mean, what do you think of? Do you think of misinformation? Do you think of, information about voting? Um, Things that you would think that your community might be interested in. All right. So I didn't. Okay, I'm gonna just go here. I do have notes. I do have notes, so I want to make sure that I kind of follow those notes. Okay. Here, if you click on Start Your Community's Journey to Information Literacy, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but they to explain what information literacy is and what you need to do to start maybe doing programming or teaching or whatever for your community. So number one is know your community. All right. And that's just something that you know from seeing people in and out every day. And so you'll know, do they need digital literacy? Do they need lessons about how to, like locate misinformation or identify misinformation? Uh, so know your community. That's the first advice before you start like actually planning programming. And they do offer real world examples. So you could go to each of those to get an idea of different programs that other libraries have already done. All right. And then it talks about designing an approach. And this would actually probably be um, related to what I'm going to show you because it says download ready to use materials. And they have lesson plans, they have tip sheets, they have community spotlights. So there's a ton of information on here. And I forgot to say that, but I will try to share as much as I can. But ultimately, you will have to, peruse the website yourself and find the resources that are going to be the best for you. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this download ready to use materials with real examples here in a little bit. But each section, so this is design and approach. They have some real world examples that you can look at or see how people are doing their own programming. And then this one, develop partnerships and find funding. We are all looking, I know we're all fighting for the dollars that we have. And sometimes you feel like there's just not anything else you can do. You're out of funding or whatever. But I feel like a lot of the things that you'll find on this website will actually lead you to develop partnerships. For example, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but I'm going to show you some things and resources for digital literacy, health literacy, and financial literacy. And so when you think of those different categories, you can start thinking, okay, in my community, if I was going to focus on health literacy, which uh, businesses or which doctors, do we have a hospital? What could we do? Reach out and partner with someone else in the community. And they can, provide resources, maybe even money. But I feel like sometimes if we can make sure that we're involving the community or a community organization, that will get more attention and maybe draw more people in because you'll have someone else, sharing that it's coming up. So the health, your health people, your health facilities that you've partnered with, they can promote the program as well as you. So that adds some extra exposure for you. And so as we go through this, you may be in the back of your mind, just kind of think, okay, who could we partner with if we wanted to focus on financial literacy? Banks, investment uh, people, I call them people, but people that work in investments, maybe people that do loans, and mortgages and that kind of thing, that you could partner with them for financial literacy. But as you can see, like I said, under each of these, they have real world examples that you can look at. And then, of course, whenever you do actually do your programming, you want to make sure that you evaluate it, how it went, and how you're going to be able to sustain that. And it may mean, continuing to do different programs as you go along. Okay, so that's it for that. So I'm going to go back one page and I'm going to go to information literacy topics. And I'm going to scroll down just so you can see that there are resources for digital literacy, financial literacy, and health literacy, as well as information literacy. So I feel like information literacy is kind of the umbrella that those other types of literacy fall under. So I will be going to different sections so that you can see examples of what things you could use for those type of programming. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is, it will go, there it is. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so here we are, and this is just dedicated to information literacy. Maybe you need to, it's like, why teach information literacy skills? You may want to use this information with your staff. You could also maybe use some of this information when you're planning your programming. And so this page explores just information literacy. Okay. So you can see all of the different types of things that they make available to you and things that you can share. Sometimes you can do passive programming by just including things on your website or on your social media channels. Okay, so here we have training and resources for professionals, and this could be something you could use with your staff if you felt like that would be good for them to learn some more about it. And so, as you can see, more resources. And I want to focus on one certain thing, and that's why I'm kind of actually kind of going down, scrolling down, just so you can see the types of resources that are offered. Now, a lot of these that I'm showing you as I go by are actually, they will link out to other websites. Okay. So I will start with, go all the way back up here. I want to show you guys, okay, right here, Journey to Information Literacy. If you pull that down, this is the page that starts the information about information literacy. This is where it's like the introduction, I guess. But the thing that I also want to share with you under this menu that is incredibly important are the actual links to resources. Okay, so let's click on training resources for professionals. And this first one is focusing, it actually has different ready-made lesson plans and worksheets for each type of literacy. And then here at the bottom, if you click on this, you will actually see a tip sheet come up. So each of these things that they provide are going to either look like this and have various information that you can use as you're working with partners. Maybe this is what you need. You're like, oh, I want it. I want to partner with someone, but how do I make that happen? How do I get that going? And so this partner tip sheet might be the thing that you need as you think about planning, programming, and getting partners. And so since this is about information literacy overall, as I'm scrolling down, you can see there are links and websites to possible partners. This health literacy, the first one I thought of, and it's the first one that is listed, is NNLM, National Network of Libraries of Medicine. I am in touch with our representative, Bobby and Newman, and she will do webinars for us. And she will also let us know when there's grant money related to different programming that you can do. And I think they have that grant money. I think it is every year. I think it's a certain amount, and they do it annually. So you may want to search their website to see if they're still doing that. I hope they're still doing that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and scroll all the way down. And here you've even got an email template that you can use. And you can, modify it whatever way you want for your library or what's going to make sense for you. You may want to take some of it out. You may want to add something in. I just wanted to share how much they have available for you just for this, just for engaging partners at the local level. All right, so let's go back to the first. I didn't show you this because I was talking about partners, but I did want to show you a digital literacy lesson plan just so you can see how it is set up. And like I said, you can modify this to fit your circumstances. So this is a facilitator's guide that pretty much gives you step-by-step instructions, what you need to do to prepare, setting expectations for the people that are there. And then the lesson plan actually gives you objectives. Looks like there's not much materials needed for this pen and paper, laptop, or mobile device. So that should be easy. You don't have a lot of resources that you need to pull together. It looks like, so for example, and this also gives you some time as far as time ideas, like how much would this take? How much time would this take? How long would we want our program to be? And they even give you, I mean, it's pretty much not word for word, but it's pretty much, all the information that you would need to put on a program. And I also like the fact that they give you how much time it might take, because there might be something, you may not want it to be that long. You may want it to be a half an hour. And so you could pick and choose from what they've offered here to fit your time limit. Okay, so I love that. I love that that's already all put together. And so you can find these for each of the types of literacy. So let's go to the financial literacy lesson plan so you can see a little bit about what it looks like. All right, it's pretty much same format, same type of information, but just for financial literacy. Okay, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that now that you kind of see what those will be. Okay, I want to go back and I want to show you here under, okay, so we've done the uh, training sources for professionals, the things that you will use. And then let's check out community engagement. Oh, here it is. Right in front of my eyes. All right, so here we are with things that they've already written out that you can use for um, promotional materials. They have flyers. They also have social media messages already created with graphics that you could use. And of course, you can modify that, but at least it'll give you a starting point, or it might be something that you could just share. And I think that's part of the reason I said too about, passive programming and using your social media channels to maybe just post some things about these different types of literacy. All right, so I want to show you this first one. This would be something that you could use with the program. Okay, so this is more something that you would hand out to the people in your program. The other one was for us, or was for the people that are going to be doing and putting on and facilitating the program. These are resources that you can actually print out and pass out and use it that way. Just very, very simple, very put together, but something that they would also, if you printed it out and gave it to them, it would be something that they could take home if you were having a program. Okay, I also want to just show you one more, just so you can just see kind of what the materials that you might use for the actual programming, ones that you pass out. Okay, so here we are. It's really hard. All of us struggle with recognizing real and fake information, and it just keeps getting more difficult with the addition of AI. So it's really kind of good. I don't know, maybe every one of us should have this taped up somewhere, but it is a good checklist that you can print out and send home with the people that participate in the program. And it does, check the reputation, check the credentials, and goes through all the things that you would want to consider when you're evaluating information online to decide whether it is real or whether it is fake. All right, so you have that one. And let's see. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I'm going in the right direction. Okay. I don't think I showed you down here, but there are flyers. I'll just show you one of those just so you can see what it's like. Oh, this showed up on my other screen. It's not that good. I'll just, I mean, it's okay, but it's something that you could use to start your own flyer. So okay, personally, this doesn't look that great, so you would probably want to make it look better for your community. That's just my opinion, but all right. So you can also they also give you that email template, which is really, really nice. You don't have to think about what you want to say. You can use this as a guide. Now it's going to show up on the other screen too, but that's okay. It does have everything filled out, and then it has highlighted the areas where you would want to put your library name and your locality. So you can look at those things on your own time, and you would want to, I'm sure, but we won't spend any more time on them right now because they're popping up on my other page. Hang on, on my other screen, I mean. Okay, so let's go back to resources. We've talked about what's under Journey to Information Literacy, and I want to show you what's available under resources. Okay, so here's where you can actually click on and get resources for each one of the literacies that I've talked about so far. They also include science literacy in the menu. They don't really talk about it much, but I did go to see how many resources there are. Maybe not quite built out as much as the other ones, but there would be some things that you could use to get you started. Okay, so let's just go to information literacy so you can see this. Oh, we've already been to this one. That's not the one, but let's go back to, since I already showed you that one, let's do health literacy next. Okay. So under this, it gives you instructions, it has different resources. And so I want to take you to this resource here, okay? You can also click out up on the other ones, but I want you to see what this looks like. This is a health misinformation toolkit. And so when you go to these extra resources that they provide, you're actually going out of the informationliteracy.gov website to other websites that they have linked to. And this one is from the Office of the Surgeon General. And it has some things that you can print out. But I also wanted to see down here where it has some things that you can share or print. It has teaching slides, another community toolkit about health misinformation and how to stop it. reasons to use it. I mean, I doubt if you need convincing, but there they are. And then how to talk to your community about it, a one-page summary, health misinformation checklist that you could send home if you have done a health-related program. And this is another one that I can see you partnering with medical, uh, medical facilities, medical professionals, as far as maybe getting them to help you with the program or be part of the program. So when you go to each of these are going to take you out to a different website, different resource. Okay, so that was health literacy. I want to go back one more. Okay, so under resources, okay, we've done information literacy already, health literacy. Let's do financial literacy. It was so funny because when I was looking through this for financial literacy, I wanted to see what kinds of resources they had. And I just happened to click on this one, mymoney.gov. I wanted to see what it was. And so it takes you out again to mymoney.gov. And look at this. April is National Financial Literacy Month. Isn't that cool? However, we're on the last day of April, so we've kind of missed the boat this time. But think about this, okay? You're thinking about this, you're thinking about programs, and they're like, hey, if I know that, if I know in advance that April is National Financial Literacy Month, I can plan something for April 2026. Of course, you don't have to do that, but if you want to, link it to something else, this would be a good thing to do, or a good way to do it, I mean. And this has tons of resources, and that's what I want you to know about the informationliteracy.gov website. It's a compilation of all kinds of resources that IMLS pulled together for these different types of literacy. All right, so we did financial literacy, we did health literacy. Let's see what else was there. Digital literacy. And it's interesting. I don't know if you guys are like this, but whenever I think of digital literacy, I think of information literacy. Like, I don't know, to me, they've always kind of seemed like the same thing. So it was interesting to me to see that they separate that out as a separate type of literacy. But when you see that they're also, pulling out health literacy, financial literacy, it does make sense that you would want to just focus on digital literacy because, we all have, almost all of us have a phone, a lot of us have a laptop, a lot of us are on the internet looking for things. So this isn't to me, a particularly important one because it seems like a lot of people that do have misinformation have gotten it from like one of their social media channels or from a news source that maybe wasn't quite credible. And so this would be, I think, maybe one of the most important ones to start with. And I was kind of disappointed. I went to this, I wanted to show you guys the game, but our technology people have games blocked. So I didn't have time to ask them to not to unblock it. Okay, so here, let's see. This is the one I wanted to show you here. Well, let me pull it up a little bit more. Okay, the Super Searcher program. I'm going to go ahead and click on this so you can see. It was created by the Public Library Association. So let's go to their website so you can see what it has. And, up at the top, it's just an explanation. But the reason I did want to kind of pull this one out and tell you about it is PLA is the reason is PLA is having a webinar about this. And let me see if I can find the date of when it's going to be. because that way you can maybe look for it on your own. Just, I think it's in May, but let me double check. It will be Tuesday, May 13th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to 3:15 p.m. So you might want to go to the PLA website and see if you can find this. It's just called Super Searchers and Meet Leo. So it's going to describe this program, talk about it. And it looks like here too, it looks like they've had this for a while, but they are updating it in 2025 right here. Oops, hang on. There, right here. It's been revised and expanded. And LEO stands for Learn and Explore Online. And this is something that it says you can help parents, educators, caregivers. You can use that to help them know and kind of guide their searches and things that they do with their children or their classes. And another thing I want to mention is that PLA webinar is free. You do not have to belong to ALA or PLA to register, because I don't belong to either one of those and I was able to register. So May 13th, 2 p.m., Super Searchers and Meet Leo, if you want to look that up. Okay, so here we have more toolkits. Like a lot of these are, that's how they market them, as toolkits, things that everything's put together, same place where you can access it all the time. So let's just say, because this is a Google prepared training for learning online. And it's aimed a little bit more at younger students, it looks like, or people that work with children. So they have some training resources here that you could use for any kind of programming that you would like to do with that. And I'm not going to say a lot about it just because they are going to have that webinar coming up. But that's one reason why I wanted to go to this particular site for digital information or digital literacy. Okay, so I'm just going kind of slowly down the thing so you can see what else is available. So they have a lot of different things that you can use as resources as well. All right, so let's go over there. And the other thing that I wanted to show you is, double check. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you is up here where it says resources, and you can pull that down again. And I wanted to show you the resource database. This is where IMLS gathered all of the sources together, put them together so that you could come here to find resources if you wanted to, and not have to not have to maybe search through all those different pages to find what you want. If you want something about mymoney.gov, you remember that and you're like, oh, I want to do that, for financial literacy, you could go straight here and find that website. The other thing that I like is they do kind of put these in different categories, the resources that they do have. And here's that science literacy. Okay, let's go back here. I just wanted you to see this, but also they do have Spanish materials, and it looks like 6 French materials in French, put in French. So that might be helpful too, to know that which ones are written in Spanish or can be used with Spanish speakers. Okay, let's see. I want to go to science literacy because I didn't actually go to that one. And I think the reason I don't really understand why it's not listed in the list. I think if I remember correctly, when they put this out, they were hoping to expand each of these literacies with more resources. So I'm thinking maybe that's why it doesn't quite have as many, or maybe why it's not in the list. I'm not exactly sure. But they do include some things. All right. Let's just see what this one looks like. Maybe, maybe not. See if this one works. Hmm. Well, here we go. Oh, good. I was afraid none of them were going to work. Okay, so here we've got building data literacy through community and citizen science. And, you know, uh, with our environment and climate issues, it's really cool that there are these citizen science groups where people come together and try to work for solutions that they can maybe use in their community. Okay, so this one actually goes to Star Drive, and I've never used this, so this is just kind of a new one for me. But it does look like they have specifically uh, pulled out materials just for libraries. So when you do this, you can use, it says you can download and use these materials, recipe cards, et cetera, et cetera. Are you interested in learning more? And they give you more resources that you can print out or share. Looks like this is where science and citizen science is already being used. Here's some things that you could use if you would like to learn more about citizen science yourself. And, here it even says you can connect maybe with someone that's kind of like an expert. So that's pretty cool. So let me go back to, okay, if there was anything else that I did not share, I don't think I went all the way down. I want to do this one, the measurement, the exploit. It just looks interesting, doesn't it? And it goes out to the National Institute of Science, I think is what that stands for. But this looks more like something that you could do with school age kids or maybe even teens. And you've got some resources over here. Let's just click on this one since it says it's for resources. It says it's for students as well, but it looks like it's just more information about different kinds of um, measurements and units. But they do have a lot of things here too that you could explore. All right, so let's get out of that one and go back one and back one more. Okay, now we're back to just the resources page. Now I have gone through this kind of quickly. And I did say I can go back and look at things maybe that you want to look at that I went through too quickly because we do have a little bit of time here at the end. I can also answer questions. But I just wanted you all to be aware that this website is out there. It has tons of resources. And I know sometimes it's hard to have time to even find those resources, or to find out what is on this website because you're busy day to day library stuff. So I wanted to do a webinar just so you know this is out there for now. Like I said, hopefully it will stay forever. But I kind of was thinking, and that's kind of why I said, if you find something in particular that you really, really like and really want to use, as far as some of those lesson plans that they prepare for you, you may just want to go ahead and print them out. And then also some of these resource websites, you may just want to bookmark those for the future. So you have them already connected. So you don't have to, you know, oh my gosh, that's not there anymore. And I seriously really, really pray and hope that that never happens. I'm just saying the way things are right now, you never quite know. I was extremely thankful when I came. to the website the last few weeks to know that it was still there. So, okay. I think I'm just going to stop there because, like I said, a lot of the things that you are going to use, you'll have to kind of explore yourself. Oh, I forgot to show the community spotlights. They do have some things and some examples of what people have used these resources for. So these are like real life examples. And sometimes I feel like those are the best. If you can see how someone has already used it, it might make, you might start brainstorming and thinking, now, how could we do that? Or what would be more appropriate for our community? But just having these community spotlights to see how people have used the materials is is helpful. It's extremely helpful. I think that I always get ideas from other people, what they do. Sometimes I come up with original ideas, but not always. A lot of times they're ideas that I've heard. Librarians are great at this with sharing our resources, and then you can adapt it for what you need it for. But I did want to point that out. I'd forgotten to show you that there are these spotlights. Now the bad thing is you can't submit your Spotlight anymore because you used to be able to. You could submit your program that you did, and then they could feature you on this website. But I highly doubt that that is still continuing. So, yes, I did want to mention that. I'm sorry that I skipped that part. Let's go back to the first page. All right. Okay, Meg, how are we doing? Do we have any questions?
We do have a question from Emily Hetrick that said, can you show us the civic literacy links under the resources?
Say that one more time.
Emily Hetrick asks, can you show us the civic literacy links under the resources?
Oh, yes, of course. Happy to. I think that one was it under our information literacy or was it under our schedule? I cannot remember. Digital. Okay, let's go back to um, digital literacy, I think. Okay, so here is the civic online reasoning curriculum. I'm hoping that's the one that you were thinking of. So let's click on that. And this takes you out to a different website. And that website is called Civic Online Reasoning. And it has curriculum connections. It looks like it's been featured by NPR, BBC, Wall Street Journal, Time. So that kind of makes you think, okay, this is probably pretty good. And you've got some free lessons and assessments that you can use. And these are right here where you can, let's just click on one to see what it looks like. All right. Looks like you can make a free an account too if you want to have an account for their materials. Okay, so I hadn't actually looked at this, so I'm just kind of scrolling down too to see what they have. It looks like they have a lot of different, this one has a video, evaluating evidence. I won't click on those just because they're videos that would play. But it looks like you can access, it looks like they have level 1, and then they also have level 2. So let's just click on access for level 2. Oh, I don't have an account. So you can do that though. You can create an account. It's free. It looks like, let's see, what's at stake. This is why you would want to do something with civic literacy. And as we all know, that's extremely important right now that we all know our Constitution, our amendments, our civil rights, all of these things. are important, I think. And that may be what you want to focus on with your community. You may know that this is something that needs to be addressed, but it does show you several different videos that they've already created that you could use. And then you have the lesson plans. And then research about civic literacy, why it's important, civic online reasoning, how do you develop that with digital literacy lessons. Looks like they have several things related to research that they've done. It does say that they, well, hang on, I saw it up here at the top where it said research. I think it said something about, maybe it's at the bottom. It was just talking about how they do their research. I don't see it right now, but that it kind of gives you an idea. I'll go back to the curriculum because I didn't spend a lot of time on that one when I got into the website. But this also gives you a lot of things that you could use, when you're evaluating digital sources, who's behind the information, what's the evidence, what do other sources say. So these would all be things that you could use with your, I don't know, teens, or you could do an adult program. I always feel like maybe teens are where we should be trying to target some of these things so that they are informed and educated. But they do have lessons, which we already saw. They have assessments. Let's see what assessments looks like. Okay. Looks like these are things you can use to actually like kind of check and see if they understand the lesson that you had. All right. And then collections, real quick. Other information, I think that you might want to do. I was just reading something about this yesterday about lateral reading whenever you're evaluating information. A lot of times these days we just go to Google and the first thing that looks good, we use it. But if you really, really want to make sure that you're getting the correct information, you need to look at more than one website. And that was what they were talking about, is teaching how, like, if you find information on one website, go to that other website. Like if they refer to another website, link out to another website, go to that, read that, and compare. So the lateral reading concept is kind of interesting to me. I knew it, but I don't think I'd ever called it lateral reading. So there's a term now that you can use for that. Okay. Meg, anybody else?
I don't see any other questions, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to write it in the chat.
Mm-hmm. And I will be sending out certificates to everyone who was here today. So you don't have to worry about that. But I would be happy to show you anything else that maybe I went through too quickly. Because
Jody Jennings says, I can see myself using this resource in a multitude of ways. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Thank you. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Jana Bradley says, great resources. You're welcome, Suzanne. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Yes, that's why I wanted to do this, is I just want to make as many people aware of this as possible, because, what's better than already made materials, already lesson plans, already authoritative websites picked out for each of these. So yeah, so that's why I wanted to share it. I was really excited about whenever they did when IMLS did the webinar in, I think it was like fall of 2024. And so that's why I wanted to do this as one of our webinars this year. So
yeah, we're getting a lot of thank yous and how wonderful this information was. Melissa says, I'm going to send this website to everyone else at work.
Oh,
Maybe
good.
they'll have fun with some of the things they are working on.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. And all of you, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. and, finding out about this new resources. Maybe new to you, I don't know.
Amy asks, I'm so sorry, will we be receiving slides of the presentation or at least the list of resources?
I can put together a list of resources. I didn't actually do a slideshow. I'm just doing a demonstration of the website, but I can do that. I've written notes to myself, so I can maybe kind of flesh those out and add some resources to that and send that to you.
Great. We have about 9 to 10 minutes left. Is there any other questions? Or anything we can show real quick?
I didn't actually show you this, but there are some videos on this page that you can actually play that describe what is information literacy, what is health literacy. They're pretty much basically say the same thing, and they just trade out the type of literacy it is. So I didn't really want to spend time on that.
Jana Bradley asks, what's your favorite resource, the one you want to talk about all the time?
Oh my gosh.
Do you have one?
I don't know. I'm just sitting here trying to think. The first thing that comes to mind is Inspire, but that's tons of resources, so that's not just one resource. Uh, hmm. You'd think I would just know that off the top of my head.
It seems like every resource is so beneficial in its own right.
Yeah, and I think if you're like me, it probably just depends on like what you're going through, either at work or in your life, and you're researching that particular thing to get answers. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's one particular resource. How about you guys? Can you guys tell me some of yours? Because my mind is blank. I'm not thinking of anything at this moment. And it's probably because I'm trying to think of something. Does anybody want to put their favorite resource in the chat?
Well, Bobby Scott asks, could anyone still be actively running this site now that so much of IMLS staff was put on leave? And I don't know if there's a good answer for that, but it is an interesting question.
Yeah, and it was one I thought of too, because as soon as I knew what had happened and going to do this, had this webinar planned, I was kind of nervous about would the page even still be there. And that's also one of the reasons why I said, I think if you find something particularly useful or that you think you might use, like one of those lesson plans or one of those handouts for your programming, personally, I think I would go ahead and print that out or save it. You can download them because they were in PDF format. You might just want to download those into an information literacy folder or different types of literacy. You can divide it up. If there's something in particular that you think you could use, I would go ahead and download it or print it or something. And I would also maybe print out a list of those the resources where all the resources were listed together, the websites that you can that are actually part of the lessons that you can go out to. I think I would print that out too, or bookmark those individual resources that you think might be helpful for programs with your patrons. And I just say that because I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure. It sounds like they have a skeleton crew, and I know this was one of their like kind of passion projects that they were really happy to have completed last year. And I do know that they had planned on adding. They said, this website is kind of a work in progress. We're going to find new resources or additional resources for these different categories that we can add in and beef it up a little bit more, even though it's pretty robust right now. So yeah, yeah, I don't know, guys. I wish I had an answer, but it's just, it's just, I don't know. It's unpredictable. We don't know. That's why I think that's why I'm giving you that advice. I was just extremely happy it was still available. I wish I
Um,
had an answer.
apparently, PLA is having a training on this, and there are at least two that I've seen mention that they will be attending the training at PLA,
Oh,
their
good.
webinar, so they'll be learning more.
Oh, good.
But Jody Jennings said as a reminder, which is actually really awesome. She said also if we ever do lose stuff like this,
Mhm.
to remember that we can still go on web.archive.org,
Oh, yeah.
the Wayback Machine. It may allow
Yeah.
us to still access stuff.
Yes. Thank you for that reminder. That's wonderful. I'm glad you said that.
Me
I,
too. I didn't think that.
yeah. Well, it's almost 11. So, unless you have a last minute question, I
I
am
do.
happy to stay till 11, but you're free to go now. I'll let you go. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of our webinar.